Hello and welcome from Create and Fly. This is part 2 of my 1 to 200 scale model airport build. As you can see, I'm starting to lay stuff out now and get to work on all the finer detail. I'm going to focus on this right hand side section here. So I've got a service road that's going along the edge. I've got a car park for an office and hangars as well. I've actually made marks on the side of the board so I kind of work out where things are going. This is the taxiway, so where I've put the ruler and where I've marked it there, that's kind of going to be the width of the taxiway that comes in along that edge there. There's going to be grass that I'm going to put in there, and then I'm going to actually fill a road in along the edge here as well, which I shall talk about in a second. But hopefully it should all start to come to life. Now, to get the road in the right kind of scale, I've kind of used two trucks, trailers from trucks. These are N scale, slightly a little bit bigger than 1 to 200, but it gives me the idea that that's going to be about 50 millimeters for a perfect road width. I'm probably going to put a strip of grass down that very edge as well, just to kind of make it less concretey when I put the road down. So this is I'm kind of working with bits that I've got here. This is one of my runway section mats, which you can get on eBay, hint hint. But this is an old one that was damaged when it came from the printer, so I'm actually making use of this, and I'm actually going to cut strips of the black tarmac 50 millimeters wide, and then hopefully I should be able to lay that into the road. So if I just look at the width, there's enough on there for me to use. And then I might have to use strips of it just to kind of get the full length all the way along the edge. Okay, so I've cut out the strip of road that I want to use. It's got a nice little texture to it, so it's not just flat colour. It's got a bit of definition to it. So I'm obviously going to put some double-sided sticky tape all the way along the bottom of this, so it can be stuck to the board. So there we go, I've stuck some double-sided tape down, and I'm going to peel the backing off. There we go, so I've laid the road down there, nice and flat, from edge to edge, looking nice. Now the next thing I've got to do is work out where this grass section is going to go. As you can see, I've got some perimeter fencing there, and that will determine where this grass sits and how I'm going to cut it out. Just look back at that road again there. I'm going to add markings onto this. Obviously, going to add some markings down the middle and probably the edges. Probably no parking lines as well. So we know that the grass is going to go to the edge of the taxiway and up to the edge of the road, and then we're going to cut out a section for the car park for the office. So I've cut out the grass. This is model grass you can get from model railway stores. And then I'm going to obviously place double-sided tape on the bottom of that too. Could be quite a long process depending how quick you work, but once that's done, you have your strips of double-sided tape, and then you remove the backing. Then the next kind of phase for me is to carefully, once I've taken the backing off the double-sided tape, is carefully place the grass in place where I want to put it, like so. I always find grass on model airports it just adds that extra realism. You have to have grass. If you don't, it just looks too flat, concretey, and you have to have, it's what you would see in real life, wouldn't you? So you've got to do these things to bring these things to life, and this doesn't cost very much. I think a roll of this was about £5, and I've had this for ages now. It just constantly never seems to end. So that's where the office building is going to go there. Obviously, I need to cut out the car park next to the office building, but firstly I need to determine where that car park is going to go. So using some perimeter fencing. This is fencing that I got off eBay as well. This is actually 3D printed. It is N gauge, so that's 1 to 150, 1 to 160. Slightly overscale for 1 to 200, but it works for me and I like it. So once we're in, get these in position, we'll then be able to determine how big that car park is going to be. So taking some glue, I generally use Yoo-hoo glue. This is from Poundland, pound obviously, and you tend to get quite a bit out of this, lasts you a while. I think some shops sell it for £2 or £3, so I don't know why you would want to go anywhere else apart from a pound shop or dollar store. So lay some glue onto the bottom of it, and then just run it and stick it to the very edge of the grass, and then do the same with the next piece. These fence sections come in little sections exactly the same size as what I've got there, and you basically add and build them as you go to whatever length you want. I mean, you have to have perimeter fencing on an airport, really, don't you? Keep the riffraff out and make it as secure as possible. Sorry if you can hear a train going past. I live right next to a railway line, so you're going to get trains going past. Not so frequently on Sunday, thankfully, but they do go past and you do hear the rumble. Okay, I'm just going to put the other section on, which I've obviously built together. This was obviously used off another layout, so these pieces are actually stuck together already, so I don't have to individually place them like I've just done with the other two. And this one's the perfect length that I need. So I'm just going to stick that there. This U-Hoo glue tends to take about half an hour to set fully. I used to use super glue on stuff like this, and it sets instantly, but it just gets so messy, and if you make a drop accidentally somewhere, you'll never get rid of it. So it's best to use this U-Hoo glue and let it naturally set itself, I find. Okay. And then I'm just going to kind of glue the end pieces together just so they hold upright and they don't start to fall down, because sometimes if you don't put too much glue on it, it will start to, over time, it will start to fall forwards. So just take your time with these things. That's the key to model airport building and diorama building in general. You do have to take your time on these things. You can't rush them. Plus, it's more fun if you take your time. It's a longer project. So there we go. That's the fence in place. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take out the grass that I've already laid in place with a craft knife, just cutting the section out I want. Now the beauty of this vinyl layout sheet is it does allow me to unpeel once I've laid grass down, so hopefully, in theory, it should all start to peel away and reveal the empty spot that I need for the car park. So I actually turned the sound off on my original recording, hence why I'm doing the voiceover for this video. So that's probably why you can't hear me making the unpeeling sound. It's just the way I'm doing my videos. So I've actually caught the bit of the tarmac there, which is unfortunate, but I will overlay that anyway with the tarmac for the car parking. So that's no biggie there really. So what I need to do basically is go back to that original sheet of runway strips that I had spare lying around, and it's a case of just basically measuring that car park shape and slotting some tarmac into it. So the building place goes there. That's it, and now we've got to fill the car park with the tarmac. So I'm going to cut that out now. See if I can get rid of those marks that I accidentally made. So there we have it. There's the car park in place. Nice and neat. There's a little bit of a white spot there, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. It all adds to the realism of the dirty floor anyway. So I'll get that sorted at some point. Brilliant. Loving that. Really liking that a lot. It's starting to come to life. Now you will actually see that in real life, grass doesn't end straight on the edges like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get my knife and just curve the edge a bit. It looks more realistic, and I'm a lot happy with that. I have tons of things lying around. I've got things like these street lights, these end gauge as well, which I'm going to place in there. And then just the cream on the cake, have like a little skip with some rubble in it. Just these little touches bring to life the actual scene. So I'm going to place these things in as well. Because, you know, if you keep your eyes peeled and you look at what is actually out there in real life, you will see that you have all these certain things lying around. And it just adds that extra bit of, you know, fineness to the layout. So moving across now, we're going to work into the actual private jet stroke corporate jet hangar. That's going to sit on the edge there. And then we're going to put that in place and then see how that's starting to look. The idea behind this area here is I wanted an area where customers would turn up, VIP customers, and they would actually, this would be their kind of terminal for going out. And I'll come back onto that more often in a minute. But as you can see at the side of the building there is actually from prior to me using it on another layer, I did actually pull it up, and it has pulled part of the building up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some model railway bushes along the side of there, just so it kind of hides all the rough edges. And there you can see I have done that now. Looks so much better. It's a little bit dark in the corner there, sorry about the shadows, but you will see that I've covered that up with some model railway bushes. And it just again adds some more realism to the actual building itself. There's a bit of a white mark on there, and I will cover that up at some point. All these little jobs that need doing. So going back to what I was saying about the corporate hangar, so VIP customers, special customers, football teams would arrive at that building there that I've put in. They would have their own check-in kind of area, and then the actual commercial jet would be sort of a off-site kind of parking terminal really. So the plane would come in there. Also that plane would probably be based there as well, hence why it would go in the hangar for maintenance. You can actually get a plane larger than that in there, a 737 MAX 8. And then perfect, the plane actually does go in the hangar as well for maintenance. So that's the whole idea behind that. The car park part obviously is where the customers would arrive. And as you can see, a football team has arrived, it's got a European game, the coach has pulled up, the players are in there going through all the customs checks, and there's their VIP 737 awaiting for departure. So that's kind of the idea behind this area. It's just kind of like a private area that's away from the main terminal. Okay, so there we have it. That is the part 2, and I'm going to obviously, I've added some more security fencing along there, and that's going to take me up to the main hangar, probably more narrow body than anything. This used to be a depot that I had engaged. It's got nice detailing on there, like the air conditioning units, and I'm going to place that on the edge there, and then this side should hopefully be complete for now. So join me for part 3, where I shall move on to some more detailing on this side, and then hopefully onto the taxiway that runs down the middle of the airport. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new to this channel, and give me a like, and I shall see you very soon on the next video.